We're all about the best way to build a practice, the best way to talk about eyewear, the best way to brand your office, the best way to share your story. And we have the one and the only, the great, that comes from a long family history of really doing a damn thing and making the magic happen. Friends and family, tap in and welcome to Defocus Media. We're hanging out with the one and only Darryl Brunson. Let's go. This is a Defocus Media production.
Audio Jungle.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Super excited today because we get to rock with a star. And I've known this guy for many, many years, probably almost a decade. And I remember like it was yesterday when I first met him. He just had impeccable style. His eyewear is on point. His knowledge was unmatched. And he just really cared about the profession of eye care. And ever since then, we've been just hanging out at conferences and just keeping in touch and just making sure that we as a team, as a family, push the profession forward. Friends and family, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Darryl Brunson. How are you doing today, sir?
Darryl, I'm doing great. So good to be with you.
Man, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you. I mean, today we're going to talk about 4 generations of optical success. That's right. You guys heard me right. 4 generations. I mean, that's a game changer right there, right? Eye care, optical world, it's in your DNA. I mean, it was a part of you when you came out, right? So super excited to have this conversation with you. But my friend, for those that may be unaware of, all the great things that you do, but most importantly, where you're from and where you work at and what you're the president of, if you don't mind maybe sharing a little bit about your backstory, my friend.
Yeah, sure. So the name of our company is called Hick Brunson Eyewear, and we are a 4-generation company. As you mentioned, it was founded by my great-grandfather. So a lot of people get this wrong. He had a first name that sounds like it's a common last name. So a lot of people think Hicks and Brunson are 2 people. His first name was Hicks. So my great-grandfather's full name was Hick Brunson. So he's a founder, and he was working as an optician in the 30s and 40s, and he was actually working for American Optical. They had optical dispensaries all around the country. He was working for one of their dispensaries, managing their location, and he ended up buying that location that he was managing. And that's the genesis of what eventually became Hick Brunson Eyewear. So we're the oldest optical store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Have a proud history. My great-grandfather, he was a Shriner, which for those of you that may not know about the Shriners, they are community-based organizations that help burn victims, children burn victims in particular. So he was a Shriner. My granddad, his son, was a Rotarian, and I kind of followed in his footsteps there and joined and was active in Rotary for many, many years here in Tulsa. So it's just awesome to have been able to apprentice under somebody like my grandfather, who trained under people like Kevin Toohey, who invented the scleral contact lens out at Los Angeles City College in California. So it's way in my DNA.
Yeah, I mean, clearly. And the piece that I love about everything is the community piece, right? I've always known you to do stuff in the community, but now I see where it comes from. It's not just a passion for eyewear and eye care, but it's also that passion for giving back to your community, sometimes through vision, but sometimes just to give back. And it makes sense now with hearing that family background and story as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's like we're, I'm a Tulsa, Oklahoma boy, born and raised, right? And so, I love to travel. I've got my little blue book, and I love going to other countries. But this is my home, and this is I'm a part of this community. So it's definitely important to give back and be a part of the community that you're in. I see that as a very important value.
I love it. And today what I really want to dive into is just really brand building, because when you think about 4 generations, the only way you can really do that is if you actually build a brand. And, over these 4 generations, technology has changed. The conversation has changed. The patient base has changed. You can't do what you were doing back in the 1920s in the year of 2024. So I really would like to just break down, what brand building is to you, because you've done a hell of a job to continue this legacy and keep the name of Hick Brunson going. So let's kind of dive into that, if you don't mind, Daniel.
Sure. So I've been doing this a little while. I was cleaning the store on the weekends when I was a teenager, and then I started apprenticing as an optician in college. And I've seen those changes in the industry. I mean, you talk about, you can't do it the same way you did it in the 20s. You can't do it the same way you did it in the 2000s. So much has changed in just the time I've been here. And so, building a brand is really telling a story. And so the story that I just told about how my great grandfather was working for American Optical, that's our story. And so that's where we come from. But it's important that we also know what our why is, what we're doing, and how we're moving into the future. So the story with us is stability and longevity. But when I started looking back in the late 2000s at the explosion of independent eyewear, and I know we'll get into this a little bit more later.
Yeah.
I wanted part of our why to be that we are passionate about the products and the frames that we carry. And I wanted us to have things and an experience that people wouldn't get anywhere else in our area. And so you have to bring a value proposition that is different than what's down the street. And so you have to tell your story.
Yeah.
And you have to be a place that people enjoy to hang out. We're experience-based. And you have to have something that's unique, something you offer that's unique. And for us, it's not just us, but it's our frame collections and how we curate them.
Yeah, I love it. And I've been able to see snapshots of your practice, your office, and it's just incredible. It's beautiful. I mean, the natural light that comes in that highlights the frames and just the designers that you have in there is just incredible. It's like, if you're like me and you love eyewear, it's like being a kid in a candy store, right? You just go in there and whatever you could think of, you have on your walls. But let's dive a little bit more into this branding. I mean, you brought up a lot of key things, but the main thing that you touched on was the brand story. And I almost feel like eye care needs a makeover for our brand story, right? Because when you look at dentistry, patients go in and get their teeth cleaned twice a year. And for optometry, we're forcing people, or trying to get people, I shouldn't say force, but we're begging people to come in every year just to get their eyes examined. So, when we look at more of a scale, the bigger picture of what optometry is, how would you brand optometry? What would you say for all those minds out there they could do to take it to the next level with the branding? Because clearly you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, I think the things that I mentioned, I mean, it's not going to be, it's not going to be competing on price. It's going to be something that you offer that makes people, you talked about, it looks like the candy store. I mean, yeah, the product has to look appealing. It has to look interesting, and it has to be arranged in a way that people want to come in and browse, and it has to be easy for people to come in and browse. And so, location and, access to your location, your people need to be friendly, warm smiles when you walk into a place. It needs to be a very warm environment, have a drink, just like if you invited guests into your home. We have the cocoa bar. So you need an experience in our store. We have the coffee bar and the cocoa bar and other drinks. You need the experience like that in order to get people excited about being in your place of business. And then you need to offer unique things that they always enjoy looking at and feeling like they got something that they couldn't have found elsewhere.
I love it. I mean, essentially, we got to create a sexy story for optometry, for eye care, right? It can't be that boring, same deal, come in, 1, 2, go to the next step. I mean, historically, optometry's kind of looked like a conveyor belt, right? It's just here, there, here, there. But what you're describing to me and what I'm hearing is a true patient journey. You're having these folks feel wowed as soon as they walk in, as soon as they see the frames, as soon as they step foot in. You're offering them a beverage. You're giving them something that they are not getting in other places. But most importantly, you're evoking emotion. And that's all about that brand story that you're talking about. Now, what I want to do is really dive into what the office looks like. You mentioned frames, and I know you're a big frame guy. You're like the frame guru. If there's a couple of people that I have that I pick up the phone, or that I will potentially reach out to if I have a question when it comes to frames, and I definitely will put you on that list, right? Especially when it comes to indie eyewear. So I'd really love to just talk about what the landscape of what your practice looks like, and let's talk about the importance of indie eyewear and how that's transformed your practice essentially.
Yeah, I'd love to get into that. But I thought of one more thing when you're
Yeah.
talking about attracting people and building the brand.
Yeah.
That's important. And this is because I've been a retailer for so many years. I look around at the retail. What can optometry do? I look around at the retail world and I take my cues from them. I take my cues from the Anthropologies and the Williams Sonomas and, the J. Crews. And I look and see what they're doing. What kinds of window displays are they doing? What kinds of merchandising are they doing in their stores? And then I look to emulate things. And I've done this for many, many years. I look to emulate them to create that fun retail environment. So that's a big, that's a big thing. That's really helpful. So go
And
ahead.
I like that piece. It's funny you mentioned that. Whenever I go places, I have my chief marketing officer on speed dial. And every time I see something that's exciting somewhere I travel or somewhere here locally, I'm sending screenshots or pictures and comments about, hey, can we implement this in our practice? I love this concept here. So to
Yeah.
your point, think outside of the box. What are you doing that makes you feel special and evokes that positive emotion or that emotion to want to buy? Whatever you're experiencing or whatever you're witnessing, how can you bring that into your practice and make that a part of the patient journey? So I love that. And a part of this patient journey is having the right products and services. So let's jump into the importance of having unique eyewear in your practice.
Yes. So you got to have unique eyewear. Independent brands are just a fantastic way to do that. And the reason for that is when you have independent brands, the name recognition of a lot of these brands isn't as high as designer labels that have been known for making clothes or bags or shoes or all these other things for so many years. And so for a lot of people that are coming in, a lot of your clients and your patients, you're getting to introduce them to these brands for the first time and you're showing them something new. And that's exciting for consumers, for patients, for eyewear lovers to get to learn about new brands. You get to tell that brand story and share something new with them. And as you start to, as you're falling in love with these brands, you're sharing your love and your passion, and that's infectious. And then your patients and your clients are also falling in love. When you get new product in, you have a list of people that are fans of that brand. You reach out to those people. You maybe pick up the phone and call them, or could you send out emails? There's all kinds of ways that you can make announcements. And when you have unique independent brands, people want to come in and see them whenever you have new product to show.
I love it. And let me ask you a question. You've been doing this for quite a bit of time. There may be an optician out there or an optometrist out there, hell, even an ophthalmologist out there that's looking to open up a practice and they want to bring in those different frame designers. But they look at that price point and they're like, man, this is a lot to invest on a frame and I'm just opening a practice. What would you say to combat, that mindset of someone that may say it's not worth that investment of bringing in indie eyewear initially? How would you combat that?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it to look at it. It's all an investment, and you've got to look at who your demographics are. Who are you trying to reach? What kinds of people are you trying to attract? And so there's probably some indie collections out there. There's a variety of price ranges. So it's probably something that you can find a price range that's going to suit the person that you are looking to serve. And I would just look. I mean, there's a whole huge world of independent eyewear, and it's bigger than a lot of people realize. So I would do some homework, look around, but think about your customer. That's got to be very well planned out. Not everybody wants the piece that's handmade in France that's got diamonds all over it. You might have that customer, but that's probably not your core. You
Sure.
probably have a lot of customers who want kind of a classic look, but they might just want something that has a little bit of a unique flair to it. And you've got to hit all of your demographics, all your categories of customers.
I love it. And I feel like I just dispelled a myth that was out there, right? When I think of indie eyewear, I think of super expensive when it comes to cost of goods. But to your point, it could be at any price point, right? So it's really, again, know your demographic that you serve, know the audience, know your patient base, and then figure out what works the best. Now, when it comes to selecting these frame lines, where are you going to get these? I mean, are you going abroad? Are you staying here domestically? Are you having people come to your practice? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it generally looks like Vision Expo East. 'Cause you get a lot of European, you get a lot of international designers will be there. And so, and of course, I'm always looking on social media. I'm always looking. I've got my eyes open. I follow a lot of other opticians and a lot of other stores. And so, when I see something that kind of piques my interest, I make a mental note of it. If I see it again, I write it down. And eventually I study it a little bit, and then I make it a point to go meet with that company the next time I go to a trade show like Vision Expo. And so I'm just always looking. You always got to keep your eyes open.
I know that's right. And then, when you get these products in your office, you mentioned earlier that you have an email list. I mean, there's no doubt about it that there's power in that email list, and you want to make sure you know those patients and what their love and what their interest is so you can connect them with any new products that come into your office. But, something that I know you're very successful with are trunk shows. And I would love for you to talk about, the importance of trunk shows and how you put on a trunk show. Because I'll be honest with you, I put some on in the past when I was younger, when I was practicing, and they didn't really connect that well. And I felt it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, Daniel. So I'd love to get some tips on how I could take it to the next level and get patients in for a trunk show and make conversions as well.
Sure. Been doing trunk shows a long time. In our industry, trunk shows the word that most people know and use, and I still use it a lot because when I put it out there, most people know what that is. But it's funny, we have different trendy words that come around, like pop-up shop. I've been seeing that a lot lately. Exclusive event is actually what we called the last one. We just did a trunk show for Anna Corinne Carlson,
which is
beautiful collection out of Sweden. And that one, because that's such a special collection, it was billed more as an exclusive event, and it really is. I mean, it's an exclusive event just to have that collection. You go many hundreds of miles before you'll see that one. So the key with trunk shows, I think it's like a lot of things, Darryl, consistency. It's consistency. You really need to do them somewhat regularly. They're not all going to be smash hits. Every once in a while, you're going to get one that just, maybe there was a big basketball game on that weekend, or people were out of town because of something, right? Like, so sometimes it's timing, but you've got to have a plan, and you've got to develop that plan, and you got to implement it each time and keep doing the things that work. So I got a trunk show checklist that I created, I don't know, 10 or more years ago, 12, 14, I don't know, a long time ago. And the email list, the social media marketing. I will usually call local media, like newspaper writers that cover local things. And I'll just let them know, hey, we're doing a special event. You want to do all of those things. And the biggest one that I added in the last few years that has really helped a lot is phone calls, picking up the phone and calling the people that are the biggest fans of that brand. When you call somebody, they may have seen the email, they may have been busy, but if they also got a phone call, now you've got 2 points of contact, and it's more just endearing and more special and more personal.
I love that, man. I love that. The picking up the phone. I know everyone's nervous about picking up a phone, right? But like, hey, I wonder if we could even take it to the next level and, FaceTime, right? Or do some type of video chat. I mean, can you imagine being a patient and getting a call from Daniel saying, hey, I got some new indie eyewear and I want you to come in and check it out. Check these out here. These are waiting for you. I mean, imagine the touch that can add to that intimate relationship that you could build over time. I know you're picking up the phone and making that call, but hey, maybe we could take it to the next level with a video chat. But I've never heard anyone actually talk about making a phone call. I've heard emails, I've heard text messaging, but an actual phone call is very intimate, and it makes you feel like you're part of the family. I really love that. And it looks like folks are loving this. They're saying that phone calls seems very personable, and I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, no, it works. It does work. When we started doing that, we definitely saw an increase in turnout, and that's what you're trying to do. So the goal of the trunk show, like, of course, you want people to come in and buy lots of glasses, but you mostly want, you also want people to see that you are actively doing fun and new things, and you're continuing to do fun and new things going into the future. And they're going to see that happening. They're not going to come to every one of your events, but whenever they're ready, they're in the right mindset, and they need some new glasses, they're going to remember that. And then they're eventually going to find one of your events, and it's going to be, you're going to get a good result. So
I love that, man. So you're essentially planting the seed, right? Even though they're not buying something that day, at least they know, number one, where your office is located at. They know the style frames that you carry. they know the brand story that's there, right? And also they get that networking opportunity, because you never know who may come into that practice. Someone may come in to buy some glasses that someone else may connect with, and you never know what that might do for their life, right? And then you're going to have an ambassador for the rest of your life, because they're going to say, hey, I met this person at Hick Brunson Eyewear, and you need to go check out their eyewear as well, or something like that. So much you can do, but I think the key thing, to your point, is really planting that seed more than anything.
Yeah, I got to stop and tell a quick story.
Yeah, far away.
I have a client. You talk about changing lives, right? Like, it's been our mission to enhance people's confidence through the craft of opticianry at Hick Brunson Eyewear for many, many years now. That's kind of our mission statement.
Yeah.
And I have a client who I've known for, I don't know, 14 years now. And it goes back to this frame, that the first frame he ever got from us. He still tells me this story every once in a while. And he doesn't even live in my town anymore. He lives in Hawaii now.
Oh, wow.
But I still hear from him about once a year, and when he's visiting. And he said that the pair of glasses that he got, the first one he ever got from us, changed his life. It was shortly after that he met his wife, that he's been married to for a long time, and all the good things that happened to him in his life and his business, and it just multiplied. And he says, I trace it all back to getting that first pair of glasses that just made me feel better about myself.
Wow.
And you're not going to get that story from every single person, but if you approach styling people with that mindset, you want to make them feel good about how they look, not only see well, but feel good about how they look. So it's important. We're doing work that matters, is what I'm.
Oh, it's no doubt about it, man. And I've shared this on this platform numerous times, but I got into optometry because I sold glasses, and there was a patient that came in, and I could tell that they weren't feeling well. They were looking for a new life, essentially. And long story short, I fit them with eyewear. They came back, they looked at me, they looked around, they looked right back at me, and they smiled. And that smile just pierced my heart. And ever since then, I told myself, I want to be the one that prescribes a prescription to evoke that emotion and that smile from that patient. And that's how I got into optometry more than anything. So to your point, we're changing lives. We're helping people see better. We're helping patients live their best lives. And it's an amazing thing to be able to help folks with sight every single day. So I'm with you 100%, my friend. What I want to pivot to next is something that I think is instrumental in, how you've built your brand, potentially how you've done your trunk shows, potentially how you've built your personal brand as well. And that's the power of video. And I'm talking YouTube, I'm talking Instagram. Share how you've leveraged that technology to enhance and build the brand that you've created so far.
Sure. I love video. When you and I first met, I was doing a lot of blogging, like written word. And I still do that a little bit. But whenever we first met, you had apps like Snapchat, and Instagram stories was, starting to become a big deal. And it made it easier to create short videos that didn't have to be polished, didn't have to be like high production quality. So I started I can just talk about a lot of the frames that I'm writing about, and, do and show and tell. So I guess I've been doing that for a while. How many years? Eventually I did realize, I do want to make things that look more polished, and I do want to make things that are more evergreen, and that lots of people will get to see. And so that's when I started focusing a little more on YouTube, and creating videos that talk about lens technologies, transitions lenses, tinting lenses, making something unique, or just, a cool frame that's a new frame that we, got recently. And so YouTube has been very valuable in terms of putting the word out there about what you're doing, what I'm doing at Hick Brunson Eyewear. And when people see things that we do that turn out to be not as easy to find wherever they happen to be, they come calling. And I've started to build my brand, not just across the country more, but even globally at this point. I've got clients in other countries now that have found us, that want the glasses, the frames that we carry. So,
Man, that's powerful. And that's the thing I love about the internet. It connects you with the entire world. It doesn't matter where you're at, what time of day it is. Someone can always consume your information. They can consume your video. They can figure out where your practice is. They can figure out what products you sell, and you can make that connection. I've done business with people that I've never met in person, but we met through the internet and we've been able to grow and build something special. So, to your point, just keep in mind when it comes to video, you could touch the entire world. You just got to put out good content, great content actually, and be able to connect with that person that's on the other side. Speaking of video, do you have any tips for those that may be interested in taking their practice to the next level and building this brand in regards to how to, communicate in front of the camera? Because although, everyone likes that raw video, there is a little bit of skill that comes along with it as well. And you've done a fantastic job. I know you just put out a video on transitions, Gen S and the Ruby lens, and it was on fire and it's getting thousands of views right now. So if you don't mind maybe sharing just maybe a couple tips in regards to connecting better with the folks on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, anybody that's been wanting to get into video, first of all, just start. Just like everybody's got a camera in their pocket. It's a pretty good one, probably. It's a pretty good quality camera on your phone. Start shooting video. Consistency is key. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Look at what you did, see what you want to improve, and get a tripod. You don't need three things to be a vlogger. It's like you need a tripod, and you need a camera, and you need you standing there talking. Right. So start doing it. It depends on, and then once you get into the nitty gritty, it's like, there's certain things that you're probably just very naturally comfortable talking about. So think of a topic, freestyle it. I try to do a lot of them that way because it's just easier. It takes me less time. Yeah. But if it's one that I'm going to talk about some technical details, and I got to do some research ahead of time, and then I got to write an outline, and I'll kind of go through my outline, and I'll have to do several takes, and then I'll have to spend a little more time editing it together. But there's a process and there's a learning curve, and just start.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, sound advice, man. I mean, just get out there, make the magic happen. I remember when Jen and I first started Defocus Media, and I told Jen, I said, we need to do more video. I need you to get in front of the camera. She looked at me and she said, hell no, Darryl, I'm not doing that. And now she loves the camera. She's always in front of the camera, and she's doing a hell of a job. So, just get out there. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It never will be. There's been times that I've been on video and, being from the South, I said something that probably wasn't, grammatically correct, or, had crusty lips, or maybe something in my nose, or something crazy. But now I'm at that point I could care less. Maybe because I have two kids and, they think the world of me, and whatever I do is cool and fun. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy as well. And I think that might be more of my confidence builder more than anything, to be honest with you.
I love it. No, I love that, Darryl, because I think I got there too eventually. Like, I think in the early years, I was a little bit nervous to put something out there that might not show me in, whatever kind of positive light I might feel comfortable with. But at a certain point, you're just like, you know what? Like, you're a real person. This is real life. You're not perfect. Sometimes things are going to come out sounding a little bit awkward, but I mean, that's just what makes us human. So,
and I think that connects to the receiver better as well, because they see themselves in you. They're like, oh, this person's just like me. We're from the same place. So I say y'all too, So it's like one of those things where it makes a better connection, which helps them build more towards the brand that you're building, right? And, speaking of brand, you've done a fantastic job with, educating the world on video, written, in person, whatever it may be. And as a result of that, you had a frame designer actually come to Tulsa, Oklahoma to your practice. I don't know that many people that can get any person to come to their practice that's a designer or some kind of bigwig of any company, but you've actually made this happen. And I'd love for you to share who this person was and the story behind that as well, Daniel.
Yeah, so that was an exciting day. So this was, I kind of started planting the seeds for this back in 2019. And we were maybe going to make this happen in 2020, and then we all know what happened. But eventually we were able to reconnect, and we're talking about Tom Davies, one of my favorite British eyewear designer. Last year, he did a short little tour through the United States after Vision Expo East. So you think about this, Tom Davies goes to New York for Vision Expo East. He goes on to stop at a few key cities before going back to London. He goes to Chicago, down to Tulsa, over to LA, and then back to London.
Oh, so wow.
To have Tulsa to have Tulsa on that list of places that Tom Davies decided to stop and spend half a day. It was magical, Darryl, because he's a designer all the way through. He sat in our store. We had private appointments set up with a lot of our best Tom Davies clients, and he took out a pad and paper and he started just sketching designs for people, creating frames by sketching them out and making them custom and the right color and everything that they wanted. And it was just awesome. Like, it was awesome to have him there. And so, we were one of the first stores in the country to carry Tom Davies eyewear. We go all the way back to 2007.
Oh, wow.
Him and his brand. So, we put in a lot of work to get to the point where we got, but it was definitely like the culmination of one of my dreams, to have a designer come and meet us and meet our customers in our own city. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game changer. I mean, you don't hear that many people talking about they're going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? No shade, but just to go from, New York to Chicago and LA and then add Tulsa to the mix, that's a game changer. But it speaks on how you built that brand. It speaks on your love and your passion for eye care and eyewear as well. So, kudos to you, man, for really representing, putting Tulsa on the map, because you have done a fantastic job with building a brand. Now, I know Tom Davies is one of your favorite designers, but, I have to learn a little bit more about maybe your top 3 favorite pieces of eyewear, because it'll be crazy for me to have you on a show and not be able to look at some of the amazing eyewear that you have in your collection. I'm pretty sure you have a pretty extensive collection as well. So if you don't mind, man, maybe you could share some of your top eyewear and maybe talk about the marriage between the frame and the lens technology as well. I always like to, nerd out a little bit when it comes to this, and when I'm working with opticians. So if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. So we'll start with Tom Davies. This is what I'm wearing today. So you've got an acetate, matte red finish acetate, and then you've got this titanium inlay that's a navy. So it creates this really cool look, and kind of hard to see the core wire under the matte red, but you've got a lot of detail engraving work under the core wire. And so, of course, it's a red frame. So the new Transitions Ruby is out, and I had to do the Transitions Ruby. I don't know if my little UV light's working here, but maybe it is. See if we can fire it up, activate the Ruby, activate the Ruby a little bit, maybe not all the way. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, wow. Look at that, man. Oh, man.
I love it with the red, right? I love the ruby color. Kind of gives me a little bit of an 80s vibe. Like, I want to hear some synthwave music right now when it turns ruby. Right? So that's Tom Davies. This is one of my, we're going to talk a little bit more about the lenses. I love anti-fatigue, and I'm not going to get too nerdy and bore anybody, but this is a single vision anti-fatigue lens. So this is one by IoT called the Endless Single Vision. So it's got a power boost in the bottom. So makes it a little easier when I've been doing a lot of reading, just makes it easier for my eyes to focus up close, right?
Yeah.
So one of many good anti-fatigue lenses available. This is the Endless Single Vision, which I love. Very comfortable, got very sharp clarity in the periphery. You don't see any swimming action going on. One of my classics, one of my staples is my Masunaga 000. Oh, wow. So any of you not familiar with Masunaga, one of the oldest brands, over 100-year-old brand out of Fukui, Japan. Ask anybody that knows quality eyewear, that's ever experienced working with Masunaga eyewear. The quality is hard to beat. 7-barrel titanium hinges. This little parallelogram here is kind of one of the things you'll see. That's kind of how you'll know it's a Masunaga. But this is the 000, and this is a special frame. It's been around since the 1960s, and you can kind of see that look. It's a very 1960s look. And the Osaka World's Fair that happened in 1970, they had a 100-year time capsule they put on the ground, and they wanted to put lots of different things in it. And the eyewear brand that was chosen, company that was chosen to put a piece of eyewear in there in 1970 was Masunaga, and they put this frame model in that time capsule at the World's Fair in Osaka in 1970. So very special piece.
Wow. And I love just how you have all the knowledge about the frame, because I know when it comes to that, optician and patient relationship, it's very important to be knowledgeable about the brand that you're educating about, because you want that patient to feel that story and understand that story and be a part of that story more than anything.
Yep. Yeah. Back to brand building. I mean, telling stories and making it fun, making it exciting. So this is one of my other new pieces here. So this is by American Optical, and this is the Samson. And this was a redesign that was pulled out of the archives from the 1940s. And I just love everything about this. You can't see it perfectly, but you've got a lot of engraving detail work. Very 1930s, 40s. You got the cable temples. And I'm going to put it on here. And you can see what I did. I actually did a light indoor tint, light blue with a flash blue mirror. So you see a lot of reflections on the mirror right now. So I wanted to create just something a little bit more unique and not just have it look like a classic, antique kind of look, but kind of give it something that made it a little edgier. So that's the Samson, and just one of my favorite pieces, like very vintage look, very vintage.
I love it, and I've been becoming more of a thin metals fan lately. Number one, I like that they're lightweight, right? And I also like that not everyone can wear a thin metal design, right? So it actually makes you stand out more sometimes in a thicker acetate frame, in my personal opinion. But fantastic frames, fantastic lens technology. I love that you've really changed every look completely when it comes to the lens technology. You didn't have the same look in every single frame. I am one of those guys that I tend to do the same thing over and over, but I love that flash, and I love the anti-fatigue. I mean, I am using that because I am starting to get up there in age now, so I need a little additional help. But I just love that every frame had a different look and a unique feel to it that really helped to amplify your personality more than anything.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned every one of these has a transitions lens. So, even though I got the blue tint and the flash blue mirror, I got a transition extra active brown. I mean, on this one, the Masunaga 000, I put the extra active polarized in it.
Nice.
So, it's just such a convenient technology to have in your glasses, right? And you go outside and your lens is auto darken, your eyes are comfortable, you're protected. I mean, love it.
Oh, I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, back in the day, I would have had a completely different tune, but every one of my patients that I come in, I'm educating them about transitions. I mean, I practice what I preach. I wear that lens, so I educate my patients about the lens. I tell them about my lifestyle. I tell them about my other patients that I prescribed it for, and just the satisfaction that they have, and the repurchase rate is just so high that it's just a game changer for your practice. It can really help your bottom line at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about one more frame.
Yeah, what you got?
Here.
That's it.
All right, and I haven't even put lenses in this yet. All right, but this is I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. But this is the H1, and this is by T. Henry, and this is titanium core wire, 18 karat gold plating. Got a nice 7-barrel gold hinge.
Wow.
And these are very special pieces. And so last year was a special year, not only because Tom Davies came, but this is designer T. Henry, Tyler Henry, out of Boca Raton, Florida. He also came to Tulsa to show his new pieces in the fall of last year. And his work is gorgeous. Some of the best Japanese titanium, acetates, beautiful colors, and all limited edition, collector's edition pieces, and numbered. He doesn't make any more than about 90 pieces. Sometimes he makes 140, sometimes only 50 of any one piece. So these are all very special.
Wow, they look exclusive, man. I need to get me a pair at some point in time, but I gotta make a trip out to Tulsa.
I'll give you the VIP experience.
Hey, man, look, I'm looking forward to it, my friend. Daniel, this has been fantastic, man. I've learned so much about your personal and professional brand. I appreciate you putting the listeners, the followers, onto game in regards to how to build a brand. You have done so much for the eye care industry, and I can't wait to see what the future looks like for Hick Brunson. I guess the question I have for you is, what does the future look like? Or I know you have some young ones. I mean, are we going to have someone take the lead and run with it? I mean, what does that look like? Is this going to continue on, my friend?
Yeah, you can hope, but you hope that your kids do what's going to give them fulfillment, right? And so, you never know what the future holds at this point in time, right?
Yeah.
I got a lot of good years left in me. I'm having fun. So we'll see, man.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I always like to ask all my guests a question, and that question revolves around legacy. And I always like to ask, when it's your turn to hang up your phoropter or your turn to hang up that last piece of eyewear, what do you want to be known for in the eye care industry? What legacy do you want to leave behind, Daniel?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, I'm a husband and a father, and that's number one. In the eye care industry, I definitely want to be known for somebody who was good at telling brand stories and good at introducing new, unique brands to my market. But I hope that I'm known as someone who was able to be a leader and take a mission and help everybody understand what the mission is, and then let it multiply. And so I'm a big fan of people who teach on leadership, extreme ownership, which, by the way, I brought a couple of these books up here, so I thought I'd talk about this. This is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And leaders teach other people how to be leaders. They don't create followers, they create other leaders. I mean, that's the big takeaway from this book, is you want to inspire other people to be able to make the right calls and then own those calls and own those decisions. And you have to own everything that happens as a leader. You have to own it. If things go wrong, you have to own it, take responsibility for it. And so that's an important part of any business where you're working with people. And I would say helping people understand the mission and helping people understand that, bringing out the best in people. So I got one more book I want to drop for your audience here.
Hey, I love books, man. So please put us on the game, man.
Great book I read many years ago. This is Good to Great by Jim Collins. Okay. And just how to take your organization and build it. And one of the big takeaways from Good to Great is
don't ask me why I have two.
Oh. Perfect. Yeah. So you want to make sure, like, one of my big takeaways from Good to Great is think of your business like a bus, and everybody's in a seat. You got to make sure everybody's in the right seat. You've also got to make sure all the right people are on the bus, and sometimes the wrong people are on the bus. So you got to have the right people on the bus, and you got to have all those people in the right seat. And once everybody understands the mission and the product and they're all excited about it, great things happen. Great things happen. So
I love it, man. And I love everything that you're doing in the industry. And I love your leadership in the industry as well. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. It means the world to me to have the famous and the one and only Daniel Brunson to come on and bestow us with all this great knowledge, this leadership talk, showing us your eyewear, pushing the profession forward, and having a love for transitions like myself. You're like one of those brothers from another mother to me. And I can't wait to see you again at the next conference, my friend. For those out there that may want to partner with you, maybe they want you to help consult and, maybe go into their practice and coach them on the best indie eyewear, or talk to them about building a brand, or talk to them about that patient journey. What's the best way for those to reach out to you and connect with you?
They can find us pretty easily. I mean, our website's hicksbrunson.com. All of our contact information is there. I'm on social media. Our store is at Hicks Brunson. I'm pretty active on Instagram at daniel.g.brunson. So I'm pretty easy to find if you get on Instagram or TikTok or any social medias. I love it when people reach out to me. I love talking to people that saw my YouTube video and had questions about it. And it's a thrill for me whenever I get a phone call from somebody and they go, "Hey, are you the guy in the video?" Oh, it's a thrill for me to talk to people about all kinds of things. So I love it when people reach out. So I'm happy to have those conversations with people. I'm a pretty easy guy to find.
I love it, my friend. Well, everyone out there, thanks for tuning in. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. And until next time, peace. Hey, family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.